Hi, welcome to another episode of Beyond Chronic Disease. I'm your host, Wendy Gathercole. How are you all this week? So I want to reiterate my whole podcast reasoning, and that is because I know that there are many different holistic modalities in this big wide world in some way, shape or form can really transform the way that you live your life and the way that you be in this world. So this year is all about transformation, and that is what I'm offering you, more and more of holistic practices that may impact your life if you choose to take them on board. You have to have an open mind to something outside the square, because trust me, it was all an eye-opener for me. Okay, so to start the year off, I've had don't make New Year's Eve resolutions. They just set you up to fail. But in a couple of weeks ago, I did a podcast. And if you have made them and you're sticking to them, fantastic. Kudos to you. I love the fact that you can. Many people don't. And it doesn't take you back just a little step. Sometimes it takes you back into like years of regression and a never ending cycle of you'll never be able to do this, or you're never good enough, all of that. So that was the first one that we started off with, and they were a little bit out of order. I sort of posted one and then the other one, and anyway, it doesn't matter, they're all there on my on Spotify, and I think on Apple as well. And anyway, so the other one was osteopenia to perfect bone health. So if you don't know what osteopenia is, it's sort of the in between, I guess, osteoporosis, which is a bone debilitating disease, and, good bones. Okay. So I had been diagnosed with that about 3 years ago, and I did everything in my power to get my bone health better. And obviously it worked, because it's good. There's no signs of it. So I did a podcast on that. So it's not true that you cannot create better bone health, because I'm living proof. So if that's not true, what else isn't true? So then I am dedicated to doing a podcast a week. I sort of missed my mark by 1 week, but that's okay. You're going to get lots of little snippets of information this year, all through my podcast and Facebook pages, everything. But I really am an advocate for getting you on my email list, because that's the way I want to go eventually. Okay, so then we had the whole crux of gaining back your health, getting better, creating wellness in your body, eliminating the disease that you have, whatever, in some way, shape or form, that you can create a little bit better mental state. Anything in your body is taking radical self-responsibility. Now, that podcast was on a few weeks ago, so if you need to, go back and listen to it. They're all titled like this. And that, for me, I believe, is the number one thing for everybody in the big wide world to be able to create a better life for themselves. Okay, so that's taking radical self-responsibility. And last week I did whole foods, and I know you've probably been with me for a while, banging on about whole foods, but it really is and was the starting point for me to gain back my health and to eliminate Crohn's from my body, to get rid of anxiety, depression, panic attacks. Don't have any of that anymore. And if I do, it's very, very minimal, and I can snap out of it very, very quickly, because I've got all the skills to do that. And one of those skills was meditation. So that is what we're talking about today, meditation. And it's something that is really woo-woo, for many people, and something that, well, we don't understand. We really don't understand it. I had known about meditation for many, 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 many years before I started practicing it. And when I did start practicing it, I thought, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this, when I was a teenager? Okay, it's amazing for your mind. It truly is. And one misconception, which I'll talk about now with medication, there's lots of misconceptions with medication, but one misconception with meditation is that you have to sit in lotus position and go, which is not true. Okay, it's not true at all. You do not need to do that. And it's not, and also another misconception is that you have to stop your thoughts. And that is not true either, because you can't stop your thoughts. They will just go through your head to start with. It may take you ages to settle yourself in. Most people, when they get to go into their quiet space to meditate, and sometimes this happens to me too, I have to, sometimes I will say, okay, that's not the right time for me to meditate. Clearly, I can't settle into this. It's not happening for me. And I just get up and do it a bit later. Okay, it happens to me too. And there's no right or wrong in that. But I'm telling you that the meditation was part of what got me to better health. And what I mean by that is more the mental health, the stresses in your body that come up through meditation. And I did speak about that in my book to a degree. I couldn't tell you in detail the whole story because it impacts other people that I didn't want to put in my book because I didn't have their permission. I didn't want their permission. It was just a broad story of how it impacted me. And I say these words all the time, a total game changer, but it really, really was. Look, I've done meditation workshops with people and shown that it's not the lotus, it's all those misconceptions have been debunked. And, I remember doing a workshop with food and meditation. That's how I started. I started meditative practice off before I did the whole food workshop, and I had to wake people up because they couldn't come out of the minute. That's how relaxing you can get. And the more relaxed moments that we can get into our life daily, the more clarity and the less stress that we take on board in our bodies. And it's all about what our bodies take on board and how we function. Okay, so what I mean by that is, if you've read my book or you haven't read my book, I will explain it to you. I had, just prior to getting diagnosed with Crohn's, I couldn't stand up straight. I had chronic pain. And when I reflected back on that, there was 3 major things that had happened in my life only within a matter of a couple of weeks. I'm not going to go into that. If you want to know what they were, buy my book. You can find it on my links. So it was a mental thing. I'm not saying that every mental thing will, give you Crohn's, but it's just amazing when you look at how these stresses can impact your body. And I think if that can impact your body in a negative way, well, then surely you can do something to impact your body in a positive way. And it's not about thinking positive. That's another podcast I have to do about thinking positive. It's not about thinking positive. Meditation really impacts your life in a positive way, as it's calming. It releases tensions. Another thing that happened, I explain in my book too, what happened to me when I was in a meditation, and I didn't go in there to think. I wasn't thinking about this particular situation at all. I just went in to do my normal meditation practice, and all my thoughts were running through my head like they normally do. And the next minute, my body was just I felt like I was having a heart. I've never had a heart attack before, but the amount of pressure in my chest, and if you've had anxiety or panic attacks, all that feeling that just came up. And I had to snap myself out of meditation. And, if you're a meditator, that's something that you don't ordinarily do, because you just do it calmly. It's not meant to be a snappy thing. It's, meant to be nice and calming. You come out of it gently. There's nothing banging about coming out of a meditation. But this particular moment, it was a bit of the fear as well, what was going on. And so I got myself out of that meditation, and it was almost like an afterwards in my body, in my mind, it was more my body, when the situation, when what had released was to do with some situations in my life. And every time those situations had presented themselves before I had gone into that meditation, there was always some degree of anger, frustration. I could feel my body having little twinges about it, all of those little sort of things, when something's not going right in your life and somebody's treating you like shit. And so every time you think of them or whatever, you just like, they're just annoying me. And all of those sorts of feelings were coming up before the meditation. After that meditation, and when I had to get myself out of it, and then those situations, similar situations, presented with that same situation, presented, I had realized that there was no more emotion from my body attached to those situations, because I knew that it wasn't about me at all. Oh, here I am, keep going light and dark. Wasn't about me at all. And through that meditation, I had obviously released a lot of that, the emotions that had been stored in my body. So meditation is a total game changer. If you want to create wellness in your body, it doesn't seem like it would do anything. Like what, sitting there, you breathe in, you relax in. But trust me, that was the most profound experience that I had had in a meditation to date, other than the fact that, other little bits and pieces have inspired me to create this and that, years ago and so forth. And it keeps happening. But that was the most profound experience that my body had when I was meditating. And it changed my life incredibly. So meditation is another instrumental part of creating wellness in your body, if you choose to. And I'm going to be doing some meditation workshops, whether we do them, might do some online. I'm not really a fan on doing them online, but I'm definitely creating a body scan meditation. And that's a little bit like, finding what's going on with your body in a light way. But I'll talk about that more somewhere else. But yeah, we're going to this year getting more in-person workshops when I can. I'm away a little bit, but definitely starting to create more in-person, because these are things that are very, very important to share for your well-being. So stick with me. If you don't want to stick with me, see you later. Thanks for listening, and hopefully this was a contribution to you. So until next week, see you. Have a great week. Bye for now.